There's the race leader, Dick Johnson, down the straight. There'll be yellow flags under the bridge this time round.
And the reason that we lost sight of that accident in the middle of it was that the cars took the camera cable out. It's 1.3 seconds now between first and second. Johnson back to Peter McLeod, and Johnson's just done a 19.7 second lap.
I cannot stress how lucky Alan Moffat is. Had his car gone another few feet, it would have been over the bank and down into a very deep embankment on the other side.
I think that we can't quite see the nose of it, but I think it's rather second-hand as well. But here's a typical example now of a bit of experience coming into it. There's been a major change in the race in that there's been that incident and that accident. It's taking Peter McLeod a little while to get his mind right back on the job, and Dick Johnson's got straight back into it and he's pulled a gap.
And the race is on lap 18. Johnson, the race leader, from McLeod.
Coming up now to lap Andrew Harrison. In front of him, Steve Masterton.
Does the right thing, gets out of the road.
Harris, in fact, maturing very well. Harrison is maturing very well.
Yes, indeed. And now McLeod seems to have got his mind back on the job again, and he's picking him back up again. Yep.
Masterton beside Johnson, but Johnson just pulls away from Stephen Masterton.
1.3 seconds again between Johnson first, McLeod second.
McLeod backs off under the bridge.
Jim Richards third now in the BMW, goes across the line now, a further 10.2 seconds in arrears.
McLeod looking for a way down through Masterton and Harris. And Harris blocks him.
Yes.
Takes the opportunity to go through Masterton at the same time.
Back on the track is Chris Clearahan, incidentally, whom we saw spin earlier and run off in the Mazda RX-7 in the 53. So Jim Richards in the BMW is third.
McLeod still stuck behind Harris as they go into a Sander corner, the left-hander in the middle of the back straight.
Harrington is fourth, Cullen is fifth,
and
Carter is
still
sixth.
There. For goodness sake, get out of the way.
Well, this is a shame. McLeod was just starting to pick that up again. I hope that he can pick that gap back. I think he's running out of laps now. That one balk through several corners has been very, very difficult and very disadvantageous for him.
In the tyre situation, Alan, it's been interesting because at the last round there was an enormous number of cars on Avon, and Moffat's won 2 rounds on Avons, but in this round very few are running on Avon, most on Dunlops.
In fact, McLeod is the only major competitor on Avon this time in the race.
Aha. Well, there you go. That's maybe explains why he was quicker than the other Dunlop shop competitors in that greasy condition. If he had a different tyre, it must have helped.
3.6 seconds is the gap from first to second position.
And 10.18 back to third place Jim Richards. A 19.77 lap to Johnson.
I notice a bit of flare missing. I think he may have lost a bit of flare on the other side of his car, the Slick 50 car, in trying to get past Harris.
Steve Harrington, Warren Cullen, Murray Carter in the minor placings behind the leading three of Johnson, McLeod and Richards. A lot of people, Alan, particularly even in advanced driving courses, which you're now getting involved in, talk of correcting slides and so on, but it was noticeable when Alan Moffat lost it there. He does what all experienced race drivers do, is they just clamp on the picks.
Yes, it's always the last card in the deck. When all else fails, lock them all up, and at least you're going to go into what you're going to hit a little slower.
McLeod takes almost more than half a second off Johnson on that lap, down to a gap of 2.48 seconds.
Yeah, that's good.
Johnson doing a 20.14 lap, and the gap to Richards going out to 12.9, so McLeod's pulling away from Richards.
Yeah,
Richards probably dropping from him as well.
His tyres would have gone by now.
That dice 456 is quite close to the one there. Yes, Harrington a little bit ahead. Then you've got Carter.
Richards in third position. Lonely race for him now. Well and truly out of contention for the lead, and quite away, in fact half the track away from Stephen Harrington in fourth position. Behind him is Warren Cullen, and right behind him is Murray Carter in the other Mazda RX-7.
Third place, Jim Richards. Man with fastest race lap, 18.3. An average speed of about 146 kilometres an hour. Graham Lusty tucked in behind him at down a lap, and look at Richards doing the wheel work.
Yes, the tyres are gone. He needs the grease nipples in the elbows at this stage of the game. He's doing a lot of handwork in that cockpit, and it's very difficult.
But he does a jolly good job, actually, of sorting out the problems with the car as Johnson goes by to complete lap 21, start on 22, 3 to go, and 2.48 seconds the gap from first to second. And we have to say that Johnson has played a remarkably cool hand. He's had a lot of pressure, yes, and helped by a little bit of luck, bad luck to other people. He's done a good job.
There was the car looking very wobbly under the bridge again. A very professional job from Dick, but it's not all over. If we've got enough laps, McLeod's still coming at him.
A win in this event will give Dick Johnson the lead in the Australian Touring Car title. Peter Brock, of course, not here. He's in the Silverstone for the 6-hour race in his big Porsche Group C car in preparation for the Le Mans 24-hour races. Dick Johnson actually forced us off another competitor who went so far out of the way to give Johnson a clear track.
So Johnson coming round now to complete 22. Sorry, I said he had 3 remaining. He has 3 remaining now. And he has a very handy, and I'd call it a comfortable lead of 3.89 seconds over Peter McLeod as he does a 19.23, coming down to one of his best lap times in the race, sitting on 145.5 kilometres an hour average.
Next round of the Australian Touring Car title is on at Oran Park in 2 weeks' time. The ABC, of course, will be covering it nationally, as indeed it is all the Australian Touring Car rounds this year. One of the competitors at Oran Park will be Alan Grice, back in the Commodore, with which he contested the first 2 rounds of the Australian title.
I noticed Dick pump his brakes going into that corner there. Apparently they're starting to give him just a little bit of bother, and he's just feeling for them with the left foot before he actually makes the brake application. But he's certainly starting to sit back in the cockpit, and he's doing it pretty well now.
I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to know about the man who's leading the championship up to this round. Dick Johnson will overtake him, and that's Peter Brock, who yesterday our time was practicing at Silverstone, has slotted himself 11th for the World Endurance Championship round there, the 1,000-kilometre race. Brock and Larry Perkins driving a Porsche 956. They're in front of last year's Le Mans winner, Vern Schuppen, who qualified 12th. Riccardo Patrese has taken pole position in a Lancia, some 5 seconds faster than Brock and Perkins' time. But Brock and Perkins tell us that they were using special qualifying engines, an engine turbo boost, and body work, wheels and tyres, and that they're very happy with the car, having qualified it in race condition. That race starts at midday today, so about 8 p.m. tonight our time. And of course is the lead-up for them running at the Le Mans 24-hour race in mid-June.
One of the things that would have helped Dick a little today is that very greasy condition would have made his tyres last just a little bit longer.
Johnson and McLeod in first and second place. Richards is still third, but a real dice going on for fourth place, and that's between Warren Cullen, who's being caught, Steve Harrington, who's being caught by Warren Cullen, who's broken away from Murray Carter, who's sixth. Harrington and Cullen's made a lot of ground on him in recent time as they thread their way through the field. This is fourth placed Harrington, the young Tasmanian. Alan Grice's teammate from last year.
Yes, he did quite well in that little exchange there. He got a lap car between him, and Cullen was looking a real threat, but he's pulled away now.
What was the number of that car dragging something on the left-hand side? Car 8, over.
Dick Johnson on his final lap for the last time round Qantas Hill. And really, by making an early break is what saved Dick Johnson. He got that buffer up when the pressure came on. Things worked his way. And he has not put a foot wrong. He's driven the car hard and tidily and will win the 4th round of the Australian Touring Car Championship, completing lap 25.
Yes, a good professional job.
A margin of 3.47 seconds over second placed Mazda RX-7 number 50. To the main straight is Jim Richards in the JPS BMW 635, which amount of ground in the last 5 or so laps. He has lost 12 or 15 seconds as he comes across the line now, 24.9 seconds in arrears to McLeod.